Oh, I just kind of feel like it's going to be in your picture and you probably won't realise until later.
That's okay. Hi, my name's James Klobasa, and today I'm here with a client of mine. This is Jennie Brown, and we're going to talk about making chunks of cash quickly. And that's one thing that Jennie likes to teach and loves to do herself. So firstly I'll ask, Jennie, tell me a little bit about your business and the way it operates.
So my name's Jennie Brown, and my business is teaching people how to make chunks of cash investing in property. So I have seminars, live events around Australia, and I also have some online stuff, but not a lot, working more towards that with James. But we have a membership site and a few things like that. Predominantly I teach strategies such as subdivision, development, strata, things that make chunks of cash that you buy, add value to, and on sell. Not the typical strategies taught in Australia like negative gearing for property investing. I'm about getting people money fairly quickly.
Awesome. And you came to me just recently with a request, and the request was that you wanted to make chunks of cash quickly.
Yes, with this business, yes.
Awesome. And what we did was we created a very quick, streamlined process that we could roll out one of Jennie's programs. It was a high-end program as far as a high dollar value program. We didn't have the typical lead-in time for, say, a product launch where it may be taken over a month or 2 months as far as building all the content and delivering it in a video series. So what we did was we took it to a very quick process. And Jennie, can you run us through just how that was for you, and I guess sort of what was the main thing you learnt from running through that process? I'll put you on the spot there.
Yeah, you have. I'll start with the main thing I learned, because the main thing I learned is I understand my clients, and I understand, I think fairly well what they actually need and want. What I have learned is that I don't have the knowledge that James has in how to tap into the potential that's in my database and that my clients potentially can work with me with. And that's where, I'm always about leverage. It's one of the things I teach with property, is about leveraging your time and finding people who can do things well and pay them appropriately, or in whatever format it takes that you arrange that agreement. So for me, it was, I guess, a really big confirmation of the learning process that it's best to hire someone like James who really knows what he is doing. Combine that with your own knowledge of your own database, and then the two together, it becomes a very, very powerful force.
So just going back to that, we wanted to tap into the knowledge that Jennie had, and also tap into her database. And one of the first steps we took was to run a quick survey, and I will take you through the survey in more detail later in this little case study. But in that survey, what were the biggest things that came out of that for you?
Yeah, it was a really interesting survey. We basically asked just a couple of questions, and when we initially wrote the survey, I kept saying to James, I have this feeling that my database wants some one-on-one. James was really encouraging me to go high end. I already had a high program, but and that's another thing, James, I've really learned from you and really appreciate, because you spent a lot of time getting me out of low cost. Not that it was that low cost anyway, but really thinking much bigger and really valuing myself and my ability, and also the knowledge and the wisdom, I guess, that I can impart to my clients, and the way I can change their lives, and how much value that had. So, I had this feeling that there was a need in my database, or a requirement. We hadn't really ever researched it or surveyed it. We'd kind of always stay with the live events versus online. So I talked to James, and we added into the survey, after a very quick trial of it, a one-on-one expensive, I think we wrote, didn't we?
Very expensive.
Very expensive one-on-one mentoring program, very expensive 12-month program. And when the results came back, we put in there live events, which is basically what I have been doing since I started this business. And again, I had this feeling that online would be a good way to go. It would maximise, obviously, my time, which is good leverage. And the other thing is I have a lot of clients who live in regional areas who find it very difficult to get to events in capital cities. Or make it at the times that I was running those events. And I don't run very many events either, so it kind of limited people's ability to spend time with me and learn the chunks of money investing stuff. So the astounding result for me was, as soon as we put that in there, how many people actually responded and said, yep, they wanted a one-on-one, expensive 12-month program, very expensive 12-month program. And the other thing that was really quite interesting to me was that the next, the biggest percentage of people, I think it was over 70%, and we allowed them to do multiple choice, as in have multiple answers, said that they would prefer online. And I had no idea that my database was that strongly inclined towards online. And the seminars came in sort of, after that, and quite a significant difference. So it was really good. I mean, as I said, I kind of know I do know what my clients want. I do know what I need to teach them. But the format that they receive that education in, it was quite an eye-opener and really, really great, because I had that feeling about the online, so it was a great confirmation.
It was quite interesting. We did a very quick survey, and really the whole process was kind of developed just over a few days. It was a very quick process. As I said, Jennie came to me wanting to make chunks of cash, and the quickest way to do that is to obviously offer a high-end product. Jennie was already offering one or two high-end products. One high-end product already, and that was in the $7,000 range?
Yeah, $6,000.
$6,000 range. So I wanted to push Jennie a little bit further and get up above that range, which I think I managed to do.
Yes.
But the next in that process, after we surveyed everyone, we actually sent them through to we surveyed them and we got the results back, and we saw there was a resounding interest in the high-end program. So we thought, well, the quickest way to actually make chunks of cash is going to offer them something with that they wanted. So what we did is we got together and spoke about a high-end program that will take place over a year.
Yeah.
And we went back to them with an application process, and I will show you through that application process exactly. Tell me, Jennie, I guess, we really want to know the results of what happened. Now,
okay, can I just interject though?
Sure.
Before we sent them to the application process, and this is what astounded me about how simple and easy this process was. When we saw the result of the survey, and we went, oh, there's obviously a need for one-on-one, and I already had this idea. I knew how I could put that together, what it looked like for me. The $6,000 program is a 7-month program, so I took some of that and just multiplied it, made it bigger and all the rest of it. So the only thing we did was send out an email, and I actually annoyed James because I put in there a couple of things, and you should never do that. But in this case it worked. The first thing was, if you are interested in a one-on-one, and I'm sure James will show you the email, I think there was about 4 paragraphs of 2 lines each, so it might have been 8 lines all up. And it said, I might be wrong on that, but that if I remember right, is what bad was. And it just said, if you're interested in the one-on-one expensive program, then you will need to apply. If you're interested, hit reply now and we'll send you an application. And that was it. And then we went into, okay, and if you're interested in something else, I think I was marketing in a friend's seminar program, and I think I put something else in there, and James is going, oh, there's too many things, but we put that one first, and I think a lot of people just got to that, and they went, oh, that's what I really want. And so we had, so the results, let's get to the results. So we sent them an application, and I think originally about 40 people asked for the application.
Yeah, and I guess firstly before that, from the survey, we actually had, and there was a specific method in what we did in the survey to get a response, but we had about 438 responses, I think, if I'm correct, 430 responses from the survey. And within that, I'll let you take over. We had...
Okay, so I had made a decision that I only wanted to take 7 because this is one-on-one. It's the first time I've done one-on-one, and I spent a lot of time travelling overseas, and also this business is not my life. It's something that I do because I really love it. I'm passionate about helping people, but I didn't want to be tied down to being, having to mentor people one-on-one continually. So I said 7 was it. I was comfortable with that amount. I could give those clients of my time and value and be genuine about it and not be skimping on what I was doing.
Sure.
So we got 7.
Awesome.
That's the long and the short of it. And we got it very, very quickly in about 24 hours.
And through the survey process, we had 40 people reply initially to the high-end program that showed interest. We had, they asked for an application. We sent out those 40 applications, and then we had 11 of those returned, and we had 7 sales. So I guess you could probably say that it's a 70% closing rate on application to sale process. And the dollar figure on that was?
Well, the program was $18,000 each, so that's 7, I don't know, 128,000? Is that right?
126?
126.
$126,000 in a very short period of time.
In less than a week, probably from the time we wrote that email to the time I actually physically had the deposits.
Yeah.
The hardest part about this whole process was that James made me call every single person who actually physically applied. So that was 11 phone calls, and each of those phone calls took about an hour, and I did them personally. But every single one of them knew that at the end of that process they either signed up or walked away.
Yep.
And so we signed up 7, and when I got to 7, that was it.
Yeah, we took them through a really specific application process that more or less, I told Jenny when she was to call the applicants to assume the sale. They'd gone through a lengthy process as far as a lengthy application and survey process to get them to the point where they actually had talked themselves into wanting to be in the program. So I made Jenny ring them and assume the sale and simply just congratulate them first off in the program. And I'm sure there were some questions to be answered within that phone call, but did you find there was a lot of resistance on the calls?
No, there wasn't. I think, like you said, when we wrote the application, it was pages long, and from my point of view, again, going back to I knew exactly who I wanted to be in this program. I knew the type of person, the quality of person. I didn't mind about their experience. That wasn't what I was looking for because I'm a mentor. I wanted to mentor people, so I didn't mind if they had no experience in property at all, or if they were experienced. That part wasn't relevant. But the application process, the questions that we asked, I believe, led them to, as you said, write themselves into the program. And that application also included, we were very clear on the first page, it was a whole page of information. At the end of the application process, there was again more pages of information which was very specific about the price, so they were already well and truly understanding the price. They knew what was included in it, they knew that they were getting one-on-ones with me, call-in days, they were getting a whole website just for themselves where they could talk to each other, the 7 of them, but also talk with me, teleconferences, live events, everything. They knew what it all included, and where they had their individual mentoring and then there'd be some group stuff and things like that. And the value was obviously highly there. It was they'd already talked themselves into it, like you said, because of the way they had to answer the questions.
Yeah, it's a very powerful way to position the application form was, as we were saying, for them to talk themselves into it rather than us having to do a long sales page or 3 sets of content videos and then a sales video. We didn't have the time, simply didn't have the time to do any of that. So we wanted them to more or less be banging down our door and be wanting to give us large chunks of cash. What we did do at the end, one of the specific things we did do at the end of the application process was in the pricing, we added in there a fairly simple line that said, if you do apply for this, if you send this application back and we accept you, we will expect a certain deposit up front. And now, once they've read through that, that sort of statement, they understand that if they send that application in, they're up for that fee. So they have more or less given us the permission to ask them for money. So that was just another powerful positioning piece in that application form, and I'll take you through that in a little bit in this video. But I just wanted to say thanks very much, Jenny. Thanks for talking us through the application process. And I'm glad that it was a success and made you chunks of cash.
And I would say, James, it was a resounding success actually. I'm really grateful, and I'm really looking forward to the results that we get on our next little projects together, some of which won't be quite as quick.
No, but twice as much fun.
Yes, that's right. Excellent.
Awesome. Thanks, Jenny.
Thank you. You're welcome.